It's like I have to wait a little while before I can go back on. There we go, I think. Appreciate the follow. Thanks for the exploration and the build. You having fun with it? Nice, nice. Yeah, I was really happy like when I came across this, and I was like, whoa, wait, it's working like you know, like it did in D3. Like what? And then I ran it through an editor for the extra arrows in terms of like the strafe weaving part, which is exactly what we did in D3. Like, and ironically enough, I was also the one that found that out too in D3 in terms of the extra arrows when you strafe weave. Like I was the one that made a video on that and like I put that out there. And it worked the same exact way where like Woody made a video and like commented on that as well in D3. So like it's just kind of like off. It's like full circle again. With this, but the fact that we were able to do it, you know, now it's just like actually kind of cool. So everything good? Yeah, OBS crashed. That's all, and it always takes me longer to get back onto the YouTube stream than it does a Twitch stream for some reason. I'm just like pulling in extra miles for like no reason. But I still got a lot. I got a lot of upgrades to go. I'm still missing four mythic uniques per se, or mythic versions or whatever. So I'm missing like 4 pit tiers of damage, which is actually wild. When I think about it, like my gear for what it is actually pretty good, but I'm still missing 4 tiers of damage. Just from like my uniques not being mythic. And this isn't like the also go into the fact that I have no good transfigurations yet either. Get away from the wall, please. J Rockets, what's up, man? You know what I wish actually worked? I wish Assassin's Glyph actually worked. I'm not really a fan of the fluidity glyph, but I feel like the other glyphs aren't really like worth. But Assassin's main, like the 25% damage does not work for some reason. Nothing much back on PoE too. Appreciate the follow. I do like me some Champions Demise to start with. Wait, what's happening again? And for some reason, like I'm crashing. Like that's the second time I crashed. Like there's no drop frames or anything. It's just crashes. So I don't know what the crashing or why the crashing is happening. Thankfully, it's not locking up my computer like a crash normally would do. But point is that why is OBS crashing with no like drop frames or anything, like no struggles or signs of anything? When in the hitter, appreciate the follow. Try to figure out what's up with your damage Heartseeker, or if it's Paragon, it glitz higher, because I can do pit 110 pretty easy. 115 is kind of where you cap that. I mean, it's just kind of just gear progression in general. Like every little bit matters. Like your glyph levels matter. The stats you have matter. Like if you're missing like one of two, like if you're missing crit damage or vulnerable damage on the glove, that matters. If one is not a GA, that matters. Same thing with the weapon, you know, like when if you're missing those little, like just having the item or whatever, and you know the aspect is just gonna take some time. Superfly, the build is in the description on YouTube. And also on my YouTube page too, in video form. But this is Heartseeker. But what else is there? Also your aspects, you know, how high your aspects are. You know, if all of your aspects are mid in terms of like the roles, then you're gonna end up with like a mid character. Like, not being mean, I'm just saying like that's just how it goes. So like having all this stuff and having a good version of all the stuff is two different stories. Which I would be fine, but it's kind of rough for me to kill T10 and Vista, which I feel like I should be able to. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, you're missing stuff. You know, also your talismans. How many marksmen plus marksmen do you have? What does your seal look like, right? There's a lot of things that you have to take into account, right? So if you're struggling on T10 and Mephisto, it just means you're missing a lot. Either you're missing a lot, or you're not casting your Heartseeker enough on bosses while you're spinning. So all that information is either on like my YouTube channel in terms of how to effectively do this, or in the Maxroll guide itself. I could tell you my gear isn't like super good, right? But I do have, you know, the correct stats mostly everywhere. I don't have it on my Scoundrel's Kiss, but it being mythic is still better than not having it mythic, despite. You managed to get a Shaco from crafting. So I wouldn't use the Shaco as your crafted item. If anything, I would use Scoundrel's Kiss as your crafted item. You get way more value out of that than you would a Shaco. To me, you hold shift to shoot Heartseeker. Can you bind shift somehow so you don't have to leave it peeking on it? Yeah. My shift is bound to my mouse button on like the side or whatever. So I just hold that plus right click, and then I just hit left click. So all of this is happening on one hand, basically, while like casting these two. Currently doing a Heartseeker from Astro 200. So, oh, that's you. I'm following your build. Yes, I am the author of that build guide. Yes. Yeah, I'm not saying so. I mean, hold on to the Shaco. Like, don't lose it in case you actually find a Scoundrel's Kiss, like, you know, as a drop, and you probably will have a easier time come the next patch on Tuesday or whatever, when they will inevitably probably increase drop rates to some extent or whatever. So hold on to it still. But yeah, how am I doing? I'm doing all right. Hopefully my OBS will stop crashing. It's crashed twice tonight already for some reason. I've had to restart my stream twice in the past hour. Weird, because I don't have anything else going on more than I normally do, and I haven't changed any settings. So Most of my gear is good. Only thing that's really holding you back is probably a better shard, and most of the aspects are pretty high. Maybe 1, 2 off max. How's your glyphs? How's your glyph levels? And also a couple of things to mention if you've been following what I've been doing on Heartseeker. You know, making sure that you do cast your Heartseeker, right? And then 2, make sure you're not too far away from the enemies when you're using the 5-piece set. Otherwise, the 5-piece won't work for some reason. Don't know why, but I did a whole video on that too. Maybe we'll get a fix on that, but yeah, if you're too far or whatever, then the 5-piece won't activate. So you kind of want to play this mid-range, believe it or not. I'm gonna try this build out. But you just got comfortable with your poison pin shot build. I mean, you could, you can make more than one build in like a season, right? Like once you have your poison pin shot to a place where you're happy with, you can always gear other stuff. No rush though, right? You saw that video? Yeah. Love your Heartseeker spin the win build. So much fun. First time out like road. Thanks. Blizzard hasn't fixed junk mythic. Yeah, I mean, like the people were like on the devs were on vacation. Because it was the 4th this past weekend, so not unreasonable that they weren't in the office this weekend. So that's why patch next week versus potentially it might have been this week. And don't get me wrong, I am not defending Blizzard for the choice to release the season so close to the to a holiday, right? Like they shouldn't have done that. What I am saying is the devs shouldn't the devs should not be the one to be blamed for that, for how long it's taking. Like that's not on them. That's like saying you go to your favorite grocery store and like the price of your favorite item increased by like 50%. Do you yell at the cashier because of the price hike? Do you yell at the supervisor because of the price hike? Like it's not in their hands. Yes, you have every right to be upset, right? But like venting venting to the right avenue of who is to blame is important. The cashier, the poor cashier doesn't change prices. Like the cashier has no control over that. Even supervisors don't have a control over price change, right? They don't like it just like you don't like it. Like we don't like it, right? But understandably so, that's what people see. People see the cashier, people see the supervisor. So they just assume that it's their fault, and it's not. So all I'm saying is, place the blame in the correct place, which would be the company itself, not per se the devs in this situation. Keyword this situation. Not all situations, but this one. Haven't tried a new season yet. Should I wait to patch? Honestly, probably not. I will go ahead and get started now because by the time you will be farming for mythics, the patch notes will be out at that point. Like it's not going to affect the early game for you right now. Like the new patch probably won't have any effect if you're like in the early stages or mid stages of the game, but it will have an effect on you for end game. So you can go ahead and kind of get there, get prepped or whatever, So by the time you are at end game, like comfortably, then you can take advantage of whatever the patch notes tend to do. I don't know where I'm going. I gotta let people in traffic over those issues. Nah, like I said, I understand the frustration. I mean, I'm in it too, right? I mean, I witness it just like everyone else. But yeah. What are you gonna say to developers? It is either I'm hearing people complain about devs. I'm a developer myself. I'm doing whatever I've been told. Well, I mean, yeah. So like, I guess the thing is that like I think when any and every little thing goes wrong in any game ever, the developers is like the first people to get blamed by about everything. The whole like 150 exploit on Rogue, why that hasn't been fixed by now, or by Monday or Sunday, and it's like the devs were on vacation, like everyone else who works in a corporate setting was, right? And it's like the bug kind of like got out of control on the weekend. Like they weren't in an office. What do you want them to do about it? Right? Like it's like people. It's like understanding how the world works outside of their own perspective is just it's just interesting. Like it's like we forget devs are people, and those people have bosses to answer to, and those bosses have bosses to answer to, and then those bosses also have bosses to answer to, and the top bosses have shareholders to answer to. Right? It's a whole chain of command. So I'm not saying you can't complain, for sure. Complain away, but complain to the right people, or complain about the right people. I'll put it that way. The right, yeah. Just blame the company. Say Blizzard didn't do such and such, so therefore, we're not. People aren't going on like social media and like sending death threats to developers of the game, which happens a lot. Because people are dumb. When you spend the win bill, why do you put points in Dark Shroud if you don't have a hotkey for it? Because the set does it for you. If you look at the 3-piece set, while you have Vengeance, you gain 1 Dark Shroud Shadow every 2 seconds. So you get it for free by just playing the set. That's why we don't have it on the bar. I almost couldn't even see it. They really need to separate. They need to like really spread this apart. Why are all these things so close? Like literally, I'm trying to not click any of the portals, and I didn't even see the chest because I was looking at it from over here. Like, can you see the chest from over here? Like barely, slightly over here. Like, why is that so close? It's just been, yeah, man, you're welcome. Note to Des buff Necros. For sure. You said your glyphs are all at 100 right now? Okay. Then really, it's just probably just gear upgrades then, honestly. Every little, bit, does matter. Disrupt Shard on the bar with Shadow Step for hard to fight sometimes. Anyone can't equip the mythic. So if you're trying to wear more than one crafted mythic, you can't. So if you crafted 2 different mythics and you're trying to wear both, you cannot. You're only allowed to wear one crafted mythic. So what you're probably trying to do is wear 2 different crafted mythics. You can wear as many mythics that drops in the world, or that you gambled, but you cannot wear more than one mythic that you have crafted from the cube or blacksmith or jeweler. Yeah, man, you're welcome. It's totally not clear. It's really not clear. There's been a lot of a lot of disappointment around that and the upgrade to mythic button, what that actually does before you read it. So there's a lot of frustration around that mechanics, or the mythic mechanics this season. Rightfully so, in my opinion. The dark side, I switched to this spin the wind build. Love the chill play style. My gear is decent. My current Craft the Mythics the Shard, having a hard time with bosses, even with the 2 suggested aspects. So if you just switch, then you probably will. I think ideally, I get more people who might have just came over, and it's like have like maybe less than a day on this, expecting to like destroy T12 on it, right? And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's gonna feel good and great, but like if you just switch to this, you probably don't have like really good gear for it yet, unless you were already playing a cold build that had Nero's Eye set or whatever, right? Like you're still kind of in like the stages of that, and like yeah, it's not gonna be that smooth yet. Especially with like any of the cold builds. Like cold builds generally take longer to scale because you know the mythics are really hard to get. But yeah, if bossing in like T12 is like you know a bit of a struggle still or whatever, it's just really just upgrades. It's just progression. Like I felt that same struggle too, and I've been playing Heartseeker since the beginning of the season, right? So like I felt that struggle progression. And my gear, like I say, isn't that great. I have 1 mythic, right? So it's not like I have like GG, but like I can do bosses, any of the T12 bosses, using the bossing variant like pretty easily. But it did take some time to get, good stats on the gear that I do have. Now, when I get all my mythics, bosses will stand no chance. It'll be like slicing them through butter at that point. But that's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a bit. The stagger resistance ones is that absolutely brutal. Yeah, well, that's because it's just gonna take more raw damage to chew through bosses when they're not staggered because a chunk of your damage is CC. So again, when you're progressing, it's just gonna be a matter of like I said. I mean, I can do I think my world plan has a boss in it. I can probably just show like some boss kills or whatever. Oh no, that's an Undercity. Yeah, I can do like some greater layer bosses or whatever. We'll do like Harbinger or something. Because I need or here's Astaroth. Astaroth is usually pretty tanky, right? In T12. Probably one of the tankier bosses. Now I'm not on my bossing setup at all right now. But that's Astaroth. Granted, he's easy to stagger. So let me give you a boss that isn't easy to stagger. Is Rain of Arrows cold better than Darkseeker Dot? Rain of Arrows is Rogue's strongest build right now. Like, alright, let's go fight Harbinger, because Harbinger is like the boss that if you don't kill him before his first phase, he's just super annoying to fight. So actually not bad. Not a bad pin shot glove, but I'm probably not gonna play any pin shot this season. Realistically. What a glove. What we got going on here? Mats, whatever. Alright, so I'm about to switch to my bossing setup real quick, which is just 2 pieces. Moonrise Ring, High Velocity Amulet, and then we're gonna go beat up Harbinger real quick. I do need a bit of Edness, so I fear that I feel my season 13 Heartseeker is stronger. Maybe I'm not there yet gear wise. I mean, there's that, but then there's also the mechanics too as well. Like I think people kind of forget, and I made sure in my video, if I don't know if you watched my spin and win video, this is not a hold down right click everything dies build. If you do not cast your heart seekers like in between, when you're like specifically when you're fighting bosses, when you're speed farming, you can just click it once every couple seconds or whatever as you know, seeing monsters. But if you're fighting a boss or you're fighting like elite packs in like 120 plus or something, like you're going to have to strafe weave quite a bit, right? You can't just spin around and just kind of hope that the basic arrows from the spin is going to kill everything, right? Like right here, yeah, you can, right? You can just kind of go across, tap it once or whatever, kind of go across whatever. But when you get to the boss, which is what you're going to see right now, you're going to have to weave those mechanics more often to get more arrows. There we go. Came out to D4 at the huge break. Only played 2 weeks. But game downloaded the game shortly before new season. Chose your build. It was boring, but then suddenly snap, and now I blast to T11. All right, well, like you're having fun. But yeah, here's Harbinger. Right, I missed some damage because I went too far. But that's Harbinger. Oh wait, I got a ring. A Wendigo ran, no. Oh well. Free spark, I guess. I want to do random rails, but it's a lot of needed gear for it. Yeah. You have anything else triggering the stagger now? Nope. Mr. Siding, appreciate this up. But here we go again. Here's Harbinger Edge. So notice how that I'm also like in like mid range. Like I'm not far away, but I'm not like on top of him either. Because again, the 5-piece bonus won't work if you're too far away. So you have to be careful not to spin so far out, so far back. What should I be farming on if I can clear pit 100 in 3 minutes? T11 probably. Love you guys using the pin one shot or pin shot one currently. Are they gonna fix the charms? Who knows? Who knows? He's like, you kill him before the stagger. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, if you look, so like again, if you look at my gear, like I only have 1 mythic. If I had a mythic Gladiator's Triumph, that's like another like pit tier's worth of damage. If I had a mythic Shard of Raphael, that's another pit tier. And look at that, 1 item quality on my transfer right here. 1 item quality. That's embarrassing, right? But it is what it is, right? And then my Etna's could definitely be a bit better. That's a mid roll on that critical strike damage, right? But despite the fact that I don't have these on mythics, I do have good rolls on what I have. Like, so this is not a mythic, but I do have good rolls on this item. Like, this is not a myth. Well, this is legendary. It's supposed to be, right? This is good, but it have indestructible. This is decent, even though 1 item quality, but I do have the max unique value of that and the right rolls. So when you look at the right rolls and like the aspects being rolled almost all the way to max, that's how you really truly start scaling your damage, right? Like I have all the right stuff here, although I have all damage instead of cold damage, but that's what it rolled or whatnot. But like, yeah, so it's not that I have like insane like 3 GA items everywhere or whatever, or mythics everywhere, because I don't. It's just a matter of hitting the right stats and getting good aspect rolls, right? Same thing with your talisman, right? Making sure that you try to get the marksman, plus marksman as many places as you can get, with the exception of 1, which is the lucky hit thing. And then, of course, your glyphs, leveling up your glyphs. My glyphs are like 128 across, with 2 of them being like 131 or something like that. So again, not unattainable gear at all. Like this stuff I have right now is easily obtainable by almost anyone, right? But it's making sure that every piece, you know, is, you know, has the stats you want on them. It does matter. Is your build set at 100% crit chance? Only when inner sight goes off. You cannot really get 100% crit chance without inner sight. How do you get marksman to charge his lucky drops? That and also re-rolling them in the cube. 1/0, and he's over here complaining. What up, DJ? Sorry, I saw someone mentions something about Azeroth. So another Heartseeker guy was using Azeroth. So that's a different build. Like that is a whole different build, and that build, Azeroth is like a big part of that focus. I know it looks similar, right? But it's not the same thing. Like for this setup, you don't really want to run Azeroth, and you don't have room for it.
Your death will be swift.
What's the highest to pit you in right now? I haven't really pushed to the max, so I don't know. But I can, in my current gear, maybe like a 128, somewhere around that range. 127 maybe, like in my current gear. If I had all of my stuff, if I had all my mythic and stuff like that, definitely over 130 for sure. But I don't really, I kind of stay away from the higher pits because I don't have a reason to do them. What's your crit chance and crit damage should aim for? Everything should be mentioned in the guide for you. So I don't know if you're following the guide on like Maxroll, but I have it all laid out for you. Uh-oh, I have no energy. Whoops. All right, but anyways, I just wanted to showcase it versus bosses because I kind of get a lot of questions about, you know, having a hard time versus bosses, and you know, I'm trying to show. And again, it could just be what you might be doing in terms of like performing the build itself. That's a possibility. Surprise Rogue don't have fire and lightning as imbuement skills. Basically we like the elements we have. Well, yeah. I mean, I could see us not having fire, but lightning would have been pretty cool. I got too many whatchamacallits right now for talisman. What we got? I'm not gonna ever cube it. Azarath. But yeah, to also get the charms too, by the way, like bossing is a really good place to get charms. So if you're trying to farm for charms too as well, like literally just bossing helps a ton. What's the mythic priority in this build? Scoundrel's Kiss. Scoundrel's Kiss, Gladiator, or Scoundrel's Kiss, either Pangorgers or Gladiator's Triumph, whichever one rolls better, and then you charm the other. Shard of Arathiel, then Shaco, and then Ednus would be last. All right, let's go ahead and finish our war plan. I was hoping for a lightning arrow when they dropped the new skill trees. Put that all there. Oh yeah, I gotta switch out on my bossing build. Alright, so we'll do that. And there we go. Back to normal. Pangorger or Gladiator if both are mythic. If they're both mythic, then whichever one roll the better stats you take. So whichever one is closest to the stats that you can get to the planner is the one that you use. Can Heartseeker push higher than Red Arrows? No. Nope. We're just gonna go straight to the exit because of my war plans. Which is the best place to farm mythics? Generally speaking, bosses. Still. But mythics are just like really rare right now. But you can get them to drop almost anywhere technically, but bosses is like the best way. You got a Pangorger mythic earlier? Yeah. I'm jelly. The new boss, yeah. Do you think we should hold on keys into a path of drops where there may be improvement mythic drop rates? That's what I'm kind of thinking about doing, kind of. Maybe not the like I'll probably still farm like the regular layer bosses like Vershawn or Lord Z or whatever. But like the greater ones and the superior one, like the new boss or whatever, I might hold off until the drop rate or something. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is for me on that one yet. You've been farming keys, yeah. Should I be transfigured even though I don't have the best stats, or is it better to hunt the stats first? I have like 22 of the shards. I would still transfigure no matter what, honestly. And if you're afraid of ruining it, then just play it safe with the entropic or whatever. The one thing that Woodjo hates and like never uses, right, is either he full sends or nothing at all, right? Which I get. Like I understand why he does that. But yeah. But keep in mind Woodjo plays a lot more than most people combined. So if he messes up something, he'll farm it, he'll refarm it again in like 9 hours or so. Whereas the normal person may not have that kind of time.
Thank you. Now then,
What we got here? Nightmare Dungeon, okay, so I can do escalation. And another escalation back to back. Okay, cool. I'm cool with that. We'll do I guess I'll do that. And then we can end off with that.
a sound strategy.
Nightmare Dungeons is like technically like one of if not the best content you can do in this game. It's funny because like we used to avoid them. We used to hate doing escalations, right? For a bit. And now they're like literally our best tools for like a lot of things. Sure, Debs. I'm gonna keep the materials one though. Oh no, I have two of those. Captures. Oh, Obel Reserve. Nice. That's one we'll do tonight, or this one. What classes are doing well this season without bugs? Barbarians for sure. Druid has bugs. They're doing well because of it. Spiritborn has bugs. They're doing well because of it. Rogues are doing pretty good even without the bug. So like rogues were fine. Rogues were doing pretty alright without the bugs. Sork is doing good without bugs. I think they don't have any bugs on theirs. I'm not sure.
It disgusts me to know they eat our dead. We eat black locusts.
Is this game MMO? No.
We survive. Wouldn't that make
Nope.
try and hold the poison?
It has an open world,
Abominations.
so there's some MMO elements, but it's definitely an action RPG. I'm gonna send you my gear on Discord, and again, maybe you can help a little bit to figure out what I need to focus on. Okay.
My savior.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have made it without my savior.
Any good spots to farm the runes? Undercity's actually not bad. Bosses are actually pretty decent for it too. But Undercity with the with the runes tribute is actually pretty decent for getting runes, for getting most runes pretty quickly. Apparently some bosses drop specific runes more than others. Like that, like there's apparently there are like some runes that are like tied to bosses that will drop more of I think we're trying to actually compile a complete list for that now. It just takes a lot of data, like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of kills to confirm what those are. I didn't think that was gonna work, to be able to like shadow step across that little thing. Woody confirmed for Jean. I bet. Spent literally an entire stream like beating up Vershawn, poor guy. On the 4th of July at that, man. Like, jeez. Like, brutal was Woody. Looking for the yellow Quay one. Yeah, those are not too uncommon. They'll drop for you before you even know it, before you even realize that you don't have anymore. So how does this build work? Do you do Heartseeker to boost Dance of Knives? No. It's actually kind of quite the kind of the opposite. You basically are using Dance of Knives to be able to have more mobility, but also the Dance of Knives shoots out the basics via the set. But what makes it really work is, how do I explain this quickly without like going over my entire video again? If you, I don't know if you played Diablo 3 with a God set before, but basically if you strafe weave, or if you weave in the attack during the motion of Dance of Knives, you force more arrows into the same window, which greatly increases your damage. And it kind of is what makes this possible. I have a whole video on YouTube if you kind of like want like a bigger breakdown of how that works. S2W Heartseeker from D4 tomorrow. Would I still play it? Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Funny thing about it is that before the expansion, I think I played more Rain of Rails than Heartseeker for like 3 seasons before the expansion hit. fact, I have like random arrows. I have rapid fire and barrage saved in my armory at the moment, so I might just pull it out and be like, you know what? Let's just do some barrage real quick. Make the switch and then bam. What's the best rogue build? Well, the strongest rogue build is random arrows. So if you're planning on pushing, and pushing is like very, very important to you, like serious business important to you, then I would totally go random arrows. But if you're just talking about doing T12 content, you can do random arrows, but there are other builds that just are a little more efficient at T12 content, if that makes sense. Even if one build is stronger or hits harder, you have to remember at T12, it's not necessarily all about the damage. It's also about, you know, your efficiency of being able to move. How many things can you hit on a screen at once, right? And so random arrows is decent at that. It's not the greatest at that, but it's decent at it. But what it is really good is big, super ginormous damage numbers, right? And that's what you want for like pit pushing for sure. So it just depends on what you find like you know, most important, right? So that's why I would recommend something like, you know, maybe, you know, Pin Shot or Dance of Knives or this Spin the Win Heartseeker for like overall end game stuff, because it's so smooth, it's very efficient, it's fast, you know, those kind of things. But if you're pushing, like I said, definitely random arrows or Poison Pin Shot. Poison Pin Shot's also really good. Those would be your two, you know, I take pit seriously type builds for sure. At what point can you aim for Mephisto? I could survive T11, but he's absolutely obliterated at T10. You could survive T11, but you can't survive T10? I'm confused. Who's that? Sabin? What's going on? Sabin Rin? Is that how I say it? No, I can survive number T11 content, but I can't do. Oh, if it's at T10, he just gets me he gets you every time. If he's getting you every time, then that's not the build. That's like knowing the mechanics of the fight, right? Because if he's getting you, then that's him hitting you, and the build has nothing to do with that part, right? It's just understanding and like learning the phases, like what he does in each phase, and knowing how to like, you know, maneuver around that. Now I will say, obviously, if your gear isn't up to snuff, then you have to play more phases, right? And playing more phases means you have to know more of the fight. And that makes it harder, for sure. Right? So, really, it's just... If T10 is kind of a struggle, it just means... Like, T10 in terms of, like, taking him down kind of quick or whatever, it just means that you just need to progress more in your gear journey. Wait, you have to do the mechanics of Mephisto. First and second phase is doable. Third phase is hell though. I have to stage the first time though. Yeah. So like it's just more so learning, like learning to fight. Or you can skip learning to fight and just wait until you get stronger. Right? And then you can kind of like end up mollywopping them in T10. Like that's an option too. But yeah. The one thing I will say is that some of the fight did change a little bit, which is kind of funny. Because some of the phases were like that. He does different things than he did last season. So it kind of caught me off guard when I first fought him this season. I was like, wait a minute, he didn't do that last time. Like he wasn't doing these things last time. Even Woody was saying the same thing when he first was trying to like get the first Mephisto kill. T12 Mephisto kill. He was like, wait a minute. It's like the mechanics are different. Wait. Okay, I was like, where's the rest of the map? Hit me from Star. Oh, okay, she's a Midori, and my husband likes Star Wars. Fair. Cool, cool. What's the tankiest rogue build? I would assume Flurry. Like Flurry probably has the best sustain. Like no one's playing any melee builds this season. Sag. Boonja, what's going on? Using my Heartseeker is a favorite build. Thanks for doing this build. I need the help. Cool. Are you doing the spin the win version of it? Like what I'm playing now? You watched Obsession. I heard it was really, really good. I guess I haven't had any time to do as much of the outside stuff. Outside as in like not max roll ish type things. You can't do the spin, it makes you sick. Is it the movement or is it just like the way it looks visually that makes it feel like that? Do I have Umber Crux? I do not have Umber Crux, and I'm solo self-found, so if I did, I can't trade anyone. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Umber Crux is not the bug. It's just gonna put it out there. So if you're trying to do that thing, if you're trying to exploit, Umber Crux is like not the bug. You can totally do it technically without Umber Crux. But a lot of people don't know that. But that's all that I'm going to say about it. At the T10 with TB kind of hit a wall. Finally switched to spin my Heartseeker because I got the Mythic Penguins and immediately went to T12. Tons of fun. Yeah, I wish there was more love for like the melee stuff. I'm sad that like it seems like TB and Flurry feel like they've been kind of like consistently left behind since since the expansion as well. Honestly, I just think that if they would just to buff the set like a bit more, like don't be afraid to actually buff the set a bit more. Like give it. I mean, it's fun. Like the set itself is fun, like really fun to play. Believe it or not. But like just really be a little bit more liberal with the numbers. Just the numbers that it gives would actually go a long way in making some of the melee stuff shine. Shank build, yeah, I know. I want to play it again too. Sorry that it does. It makes you sick to do all the spin stuff. That's really unfortunate though. The question: what's the point of solo self-found just to really focus on trying to achieve everything yourself? I pretty much play mostly solo self-found anyways. Like I rarely ever group. Like the only time I ever grouped before was to do mythic mythic tributes. That was it. So I've always played by myself anyway. So solo self-found is really nothing new to me. It feels like I'm playing like I normally play, I guess. But a part of, like, I think the thing is, which might seem a little weird to most, is just kind of being able to like play the game without the issues of being tempted to play the market, if that makes sense. Like, sure, you can claim yourself solo self-found before the mode existed, but it's like the moment you click on solo self-found, like you're not tempted to, you know, to feel like you have to trade for everything, right? And then you kind of have your whole little, you know, you just find everything yourself, sort of kind of thing. It'd be nice if there were like, you know, slight perks to solo self-found, but I'm cool whether it's there or not. They don't make trading easy either, yeah. And I guess too as well, like if you're like, I put it this way, if you're like someone who likes to do like leaderboard stuff, like typically speaking, like the solo self-found leaderboards are a little more legit than the regular leaderboards. And I say a little more because it's not completely legit still, but you know, you take away the people who spent $100 or who spent thousands of dollars on their gear and stuff like that, and you're not competing against those people who spent real money, right? And solo self-found. But you are competing against people who bought and account share and solo self-found. So there's still problems there. It's just not as bad, I guess you could say. So, but yeah, it's just something that some people really enjoy doing. Like myself, like I typically like the solo aspect of it as Brick. What's going on? As longevity to characters for sure, easy to get pulled into tribute road. Yeah, true. Shadow, what's going on? My voice just cracked. That was weird. Survivability too. Playing in a group is also rough when you can't maintain the inner side buff. Yeah. It's funny that how some builds don't like legit don't work in, like when you play with your friends. You have some narrow eyes charms for GA marksman skills you need. Can't no can do. I am solo self-found, so seasonal solo self-found here. How do I feel about this season? Honestly, I think the season mechanic. So I'll put it this way. Let me put it into two different perspectives. As someone who does care about the lore a little bit, I like what the season theme is. Like lore wise, like, so if you haven't played Diablo 3 and you don't know the lore from Reaper of Souls, it's hard to appreciate what they did with the Pandemonium stuff. Lore wise, keyword is lore wise, right? So that's actually interesting. In terms of a gameplay standpoint, the seasonal mechanics are terrible. Like they're awful, and they might as well just not be there. So, it depends on more the person that you are. Like, you know, because like I have some friends who are super into the lore, have all the books and stuff. They love it, right? But for them, it's just them nerding out to the lore, not the mechanics, right? For me, I like the lore, but I want the mechanics, and the mechanics is not there for sure. So, interestingly enough, though, if you subtract the season, the game itself is still pretty fun to play. Like the game itself, the season is awful, but the game itself, ever since the expansion, has gotten significantly better than what it was. So it's like the game is still enjoyable without with the crappy season mechanics, but it feels really empty because it's like you didn't get anything new or anything different. And the whole mythic stuff has been mostly a disaster in terms of like drop rates not being very like clear on what things actually do, right? It's, people have bricked their uniques thinking that something that says upgrade to mythic actually upgrade to mythic. Obviously, yes, it does say what it does when you hover over it, but that's not what this button says. This button does not say what the description says. That's two different things, right? That's silly. That's really, really silly and really awful. And this whole crafted mythic, one crafted mythic thing or whatever, also not being clear. I don't know, man. Like that, I feel like this whole reworks of mythics, was a pretty awful implementation of this new design. They did not do good with this. So hopefully we might see some help in the patch, but to be honest, I think by that time people are probably just not going to care at that point, and it's just we'll kind of just call it wash until the following season. So, which of course I don't blame them. It totally makes sense. So yeah, I think the season itself is easily probably top 3, top 4 worst seasons I played. But luckily, the game itself isn't bad. So I don't know. It's just, but yeah, I can easily see like maybe people play for like a week and then you're done. Especially if you play if you play last season like or whatever, like yeah, maybe a week's worth of play time before you're just like, yeah, screw that. It's just that's what it is for me. So honestly, what keeps me going right now is just Rogue is fun to play right now. Like the builds I'm playing are actually fun to play, and there is some sort of like a grind being sort of self-found. So I am having some fun, right? But that has nothing to do with the season at all. Rap was where have I been? I've been playing a lot this season. I didn't stream the past 2 days, but before that, I've been streaming every day since the season launched. Coming from PoE 2 news. Well, yeah. Well, PoE 2 got like a whole expansion, right? So like, there's just no comparison there, like zero, right? Like that was their huge expansion announcement. So yeah, it's not even close. What D4 did this season compared to that expansion is like nowhere even close. But that kind of makes sense because it's an expansion versus a season, even if this season is pretty terrible, right? Like D4's expansion was received pretty well. As an expansion, that is. But not this season. For sure. Not this season. A week is normally what all Diablo seasons keep me for anyways. Yeah, I mean that's about right. Oh, I'm done. Anything good in the patch coming up? They didn't tell us what was in the patch, so we don't know what's in the patch. They just said that they're going to address as many concerns as they can. So very, very vague. we don't know what that is. 100% lore is cool, but the mechanics don't reward what the season offers. Yeah, well that's what I was saying. Right. So it's like I I guess the thing is that I don't want to leave out the people who do care about the story, because oftentimes they do get left out, and it's like as if they're not important. Like the people who are about the lore, you know, like they do play the game and they pay for stuff too. So I don't want to leave them out and saying that there's nothing for nobody, right? For those who don't care about the story, yeah, there isn't really anything for you. But for those who do, the lore is actually pretty damn good. But again, you know, different people. So what's your take on the lore? Matthew coming back? I don't know. That's a good question. I'm just surprised they remembered the storyline from Reaper of Souls enough so to be able to weave that back into Diablo 4. I was not expecting that. I was actually pretty impressed that they did do that. And where the boss fight is, you know, the new boss fights, stuff like that, like how well the boss fight is, like how well the boss fight is designed, how the area looks and everything feels very like, you know, things that you remember about about D3 and like the lore stuff. So like that part they did nail. What was unfortunate is that the mechanic itself was not fun to play. Like at all. Like the mechanics, I don't really have any words. Like it's almost as if they spent their entire budget on like the lore part of it. And that was kind of it. And it's like, oh yeah, we have to, you know, let them do something, right? Like, let's just have them sit in some circles for a bit, and then things spawn, and we'll just kind of call that a season, right? In terms of mechanics are concerned, that's kind of what that feels like. I don't want to go up here. We're stuck at like what DPI do I use? 3500 roughly. Like it's like my normal setting. Build variety is what keep you coming back from that. Yeah. So like I said, like the underlying base game is still like the base game is in in a decent state, right? The game has gotten considerably better from before the expansion to after the expansion. So the base game is still like decent, but you also cannot pull off an expansion like that, right? Where it was pretty well received by most people, and then have a mechanic that pretty much does nothing to follow, like right after that. Like that's not cool. Like at all. Because then what's going to end up happening is that people are going to forget that the base, like how decent the base game ended up being, and then they're going to only talking about the mechanic that is non-existent in Diablo 4, right? Which is not necessarily the most fair perception, but that's the spot that you put yourself into when you do stuff like that, like or when that happens, right? So it's kind of like, well, you kind of dug your grave, so. To do another Diablo, to do another special without Diablo, if you were gonna write it. I wonder about that too. Like, I wonder, like, I feel like at this point, like, I feel like Diablo's like LeBron, waiting for LeBron to make a decision about where he's gonna go play. There's always this like big, announcement, and he just waits forever to like show up and appear. Like, I feel like Diablo's like that's Diablo. It's like, yep, I'm not gonna come this expansion. Yep, I won't be here this expansion either. Diablo 5, yep, not gonna be there either, probably. He has his grand entrance or whatever at some point. It's just like what in the world, man? I guess I go ahead and do the Horagic thing. Terazio was his bodyguard. Yeah. circles within a circle. Yeah. Basically waiting for BlizzCon. So the season ending 2 days before, or 2 days after BlizzCon, or sorry, new season starting 2 days after BlizzCon is quite suspect. So, assuming something big is supposed to happen, and maybe that explains why the season mechanic as a mechanic was so bad. Maybe season 15 is gonna pop off. I don't know. But but the scheduling is really suspect. Dress up, what's up, man? Crafting the mythic scoundrels is better for damage than the Varathio? Yes. Yes. Varathio will be your third best option. So Scoundrel's Kiss, then either one of the gloves that you can get, and then Varathio will be third. He's gonna hold a decision too with Anthony Evers and LaMelo Ball. So Gladiator Mythic's still good. Yeah. Using Panther's Harm. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now because I just happen to get a better Gladiator's glove than I have a Pangorger's glove. It doesn't matter which one you wear and you cube. Or a charm, not cube. It's just that I put Pangorgers in the guide because Pangorgers is a lot easier to farm because then you can just beat up Gregory for the Pangorgers. So Pangorgers, you would get a Pangorgers a lot faster than you would a Gladiator's glove. So we all know D5 is already given green light. Might as well announce it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we hear at BlizzCon at some point. Which should be quite odd, quite odd considering we just got the expansion, right? But Diablo will just pop up on War Plans as an initial boss. Diablo out of nowhere. Don't say it ain't so. Or sorry, say it ain't so.
It was he who rejected my application to the Sun King. He called me powerful, reckless, and I was. That rejection was a gift. It put me on my path,
Also, Dread.
pushed me to seek
Sorry, I feel like
bold.
I'm a little sad for BlizzCon a little bit because some people I really wanted to go. I feel like some people are like backing out because of like the price is just insane right now for like flight and stuff.
My every move. A fitting legacy for a
Like I'm still gonna go. So it's kind of like I don't know. There's some people I really want to see. That said, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to go this year, and I'm like, what? No. Can't blame. Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I get it. I totally get it. But man, anyone know what the direction? What was next for the story? Right, Lore Masters figured out something out. So like. I follow the lore a little bit. Like I don't read the books or anything, but I do pay attention to the lore. But I'm definitely not a lore master at all. Like not even close. Like someone like Lothburger, who streams, he's like all in lore. Like he's like a lore specific guy. He's like really like in like really into that. So he might know some things. Or have some like opinions on like what's gonna happen. Just throw it to this build, kill Harbinger once for Ednas and got mythic. Dude, what? Oh man. If only, man. If only. If only. Congratulations, though. 9ball is really good too. Yeah, I was just saying Lothburger because he streams and like makes like YouTube like videos. I think like 9ball is really, you know, knows his shit too. He just doesn't really put out any more content, at least not that I know of. I could be wrong. I know he used to all the time back in the day. Nine Ball is also like a super nice guy too. I met him at BlizzCon last time. He's in the podcast was in. Do they do like a recent podcast? Like do they do like current podcasts and stuff like that? I probably need to check that out. I didn't even know he did that. So who you know, if it's all right to say, not going. Yeah. So like, how do I put this? So Anti-Scrub, appreciate the sub. So like Lexiu and his wife is not going. That's one of them. That's a big deal, mainly more so for my wife than anything. Like, I'm really cool with Lexiu, don't get me wrong. Like, me and him are cool. And, like, we bonded a lot last BlizzCon. But, like, his wife and, like, my wife got real close. Like, super close. Like, it's almost like, you know, it's like me and Lexiu are, like, the content creators. And, like, you know, we know each other. Like, we're cool, right? But then, like, the two ladies are the ones that, like, you know, got established this super close bond or whatever over BlizzCon. And it's kind of like, for them, like, that's their time to get to meet together and, like, you know, because, you know, like, we're all, like, super nerds over here. And not all of our lady peoples are, you know, or as nerdy as we are. So, like, for them two to, like, be able to, like, bond or whatever like that and, you know, be able to be at BlizzCon and still have fun and enjoy each other, or enjoy BlizzCon and also have other people to talk to that isn't all about the Diablo stuff, you know, for them, that's fun for them, right? So, like, that kind of like hurts on that end for, you know, for the misses, if that makes sense. You're for very much with it. Yeah, but like I said, it was I don't say primarily, but a chunk of it had to do with that. So it was like that bond that they created. So it was like, you know, because they always wanted to go somewhere together, like those two, like me and Lexi, you were, you know, obviously had to tag along. So it just became us for doing quite a few, you know, a few different things, if that makes sense. Usually every 2 weeks, depending on how busy they are. All right, I'm about to check that out. I was not aware, so my apologies. Trying to figure out how does Seer Room work with channel skills like Dance of Knives. Well, you're still casting other skills, like Heartseeker and Dash and those kind of things. So you're not really relying on Dance of Knives for that, per se. So it still works regardless. Like, if you were only using Dance of Knives, then that makes sense. But yeah, want to stay happy, right? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I guess what it also means that you guys will see a lot more of me, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, I know how cool that was for them. So it's like, you have to kind of, you know, take that into consideration. I wasn't paying attention to the timer. Did they say we were going to lose at BlizzCon, so I expect something big? We were going to lose? Who's we? Time to get your... uh, oh, they said, oh, we're gonna lose it at the. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm sure they probably has something big planned. Um, but yeah. Given the fact that it's been a couple of years since, well, 3 years since the last BlizzCon, right? It better be like, Ultra Omega, like, over 9,000 type shenanigans, right? Like, you took 3 years off, or a whole 2 years off, right? So I can't believe it's even been that long. Because like when I'm thinking about all the activities I did at last BlizzCon, it felt like it was last year, but it's really been 3 years ago. That's kind of crazy. It's almost like some of you guys have been watching my stream for longer than that. Like yeah, you guys have been here. You guys are still stuck around for all these years, man. Like, man, all right. Wild. I appreciate y'all. Don't get me wrong. It's like it's one of those things where I look back and I'm like, yeah, we've been doing the thing. We're still doing the thing all these years. It seems like. Oh wait, why is that song replaying? Must be a double thing. D4 mobile and the extra stash. I don't even think we'll get the extra stash tabs, sir. It might just be D4 mobile. Or maybe they'll announce D5 is actually mobile, right? Or D5 will be like VR, right? It'll be VR, that's what it'll be. Only on like VR headsets. Because that's the future. Speaking of that, like I have not heard much about VR at all. Like there was some hype about it like a couple of years ago, right? And then like I've heard nothing since then. You don't even use server in the setup? Yeah, not in this setup. That's why I was like, we're on, I was just trying to answer the question. Yeah, Doc Procs Pangorgers. I'll say it now though, may God be with you between season 15 reveal, PTR, Max Rogue ready, and then going to BlizzCon and getting back to an update. Oh yeah, dude, the crunch is gonna be nuts. Like I have no idea how I'm gonna be able to like get anything done during that time frame. Everybody's like, just bring a laptop and work while you're at BlizzCon. It's like bringing my laptop and like the venue updating guides as they're as they're revealing stuff. Can you do T12 Mephisto? Yeah. I mean, I would like to be able to do them faster if I had better gear. But it's not really a struggle on T12 currently. But like if I farm Mephisto, I'm gonna farm it on T11 just because it's just way faster naturally.
Did you think it was over?
Spinning Wheel Heartseeker feels stronger than Barrage. S2W Barrage. Yeah, it is. It is. Barrage is actually not bad. I did do some like really big updates to Barrage, so the updates should definitely feel a bit better. But yeah, Spin the Wind Heartseeker is stronger in general. Mythic Shard drop with life a hit and percent all damage. Well, I guess that's not the worst thing. I guess you just roll off the, or you'll just roll off the weapon damage, I guess, into crit damage most likely. How do you farm Pandemonium Fragments? By fighting the new seasonal boss and Zarman Zep. Edit videos, screen record like it fraps back in the 2000s and shit. Oh man. Probably gonna announce the double MMO so they can charge a monthly sub. Wasn't there plans for Diablo to be an MMO at some point? Like D3 was kind of going down that path of becoming like a, you know, hybrid MMO action RPG sort of type thing. How much better is Distant Dancing Knives? It's about similar, really. At this point, it just becomes about vibes. Do you want to kill them with poison or do you want to kill them with cold? That's kind of how that goes. Like it's not something that like if you're already playing Dance of Knives, like a poison Dance of Knives, you have a really good setup going for it. Like switching to this isn't going to like make you do anything any better per se. It's just a stylistic choice at this point. So like if you like cold builds, this is very fun. Like Spin the Wind cold builds, this is a very fun one to do. If you like poison builds, you know, Doc, you know, if you're playing Doc, you know, kind of stay to that. Which one will clear higher pick? Cold, poison, or cold rain arrows? Cold rain arrows. Lore wise, Bale should come at the Mephisto, right? Should. Keyword should. Yep, D3 was supposed to be it. Yeah, I think they wanted to do it before. Brevin wanted to do it before they left. Yeah, and we got Marvel Heroes out of it, which I thought was a really cool game. Um, if if only I didn't need a crit chance. Actually, you know what? For poison, if I ever do actually go that route, any poison builds this season. I got Helltide left. No, I'm gonna start salvaging my like the charms itself. If I stop selling them, I think my goal is pretty good. Maximum resource. Appreciate the follow.
What do you seek?
Whoops. But am I playing now? Spin the Wind Heartseeker. God or God Rogue, you can kind of call it whatever nickname you want to. But pick, can it run? Like run or like push? Like speed farm or push? Currently I speed farm like 120s with this and pit. As far as how high I can go, well, with really good gear, like 130 plus, so like 132, 133, maybe slightly higher. We're talking about like nearly perfect gear, but like it's not something that like if you're going to try to get like a rank 1 or top 5 clear, this isn't what you want to do. You want to do random arrows, of course, for that, but 8 quality on the mythic shard, nice. Oh well. Legolas, appreciate the follow. Yeah, my highest recorded pit is like 125 in 5 minutes. I haven't decided to do anything else more than that, but mathematically, I could tell you where it will end up. It's like nothing changes. God, is that you? Spin the. You think you should save your superior layer keys until a patch? I probably would. Like I would do like the layer bosses. Maybe the greater layer bosses, just depending, on you, right? But then I definitely would not use my superior keys right now. Like that boss is the highest chance of you getting a mythic. So it's like, if they buff the drop rate, then it's kind of like it just makes more sense to wait for that, and then you can just like farm the crap out of her in a sense, and then what I'm doing.
It is done.
Man, I miss Marble Hills so much. I still hold on to the possibility of a comeback. Oh no, it's back. Marble Hills is actually a thing right now. Like it has its own server. There's definitely a community right now, like around it. Like it's there. I'm actually in that Discord, so like that's how I know. Yeah, I thought about trying to come back and play as well, but they got their own server back and everything. Project Tahiti, yeah. Yeah. Basically what Decoy said. Project Tahiti. You need the sauce ASAP? Yeah, well there you go, man. I got like eventually I'm gonna have to get my Gambit fixed too as well. Die, the creator of the new famous guy. Yeah. You know what's actually kind of funny though, J-Corp? So the mechanic that I'm using, or that I talk about in like the video or whatever to use with this, is literally the exact same mechanic that like I came across in Diablo 3 and made a video about as well. And when you like come around full circle, I guess I think that's kind of what it means. Woody also did the same thing last time in Diablo 3, where he like gave me a shout out for kind of discovering that if you strafe weave or whatever, you can get more arrows out and stuff. So like literally the exact same thing that happened like 5 years ago, 6 years ago is like happening now. 5 years ago, I think it is now. So it's kind of cool. I'm just glad to be able to like, you know, I guess show it to the masses because I know people have been wanting to play a God 6 Rogue for like forever. So trying to do some research, yeah. Name after the program that brought Agent Coulson back to life. Well, see, that I did not know. You need a break from grinding at Edna's daggers anyway. Yeah, I have a lot of like room for upgrades in this setup right now. All the creators for Rogue and die. I don't know where would the year. The year's not over yet. Definitely not over yet. But I can imagine that this is probably one of the more one of the highlights, I guess you could say, for sure. Just because of the sheer popularity of, you know, what once was. But yeah. Is Juggernaut in the Marvel mod yet? I'm not sure, honestly. I'm actually playing Poison Pen Shot Rouge, but I like very much the build too. Is it stronger than Poison Pen? Not for pushing, no, but for regular content like this, like T12 content, they're both very close. But like, let's say if like pushing is important to you, then I probably would stick to Poison Pen Shot. But really, it's just what you like. You know, what do you see yourself enjoying to play? I was bouncing around Twitch and heard Diablo 5. What's the T? Diablo 5 is coming to VR headset. Only VR headset.
Many more to come.
That was the T. Pepperish Farm remembers when you and Philo, whatever. Oh, Philos, yeah, dude. You remember when like Philos would like randomly come to like my my Discord, my voice Discord, and he'll come in and like talk a bit, or he'll come in the stream and we'll level together or whatever like that. Like towards the back end of D3's lifespan, he was pretty much like casual. I don't believe you. Please train Gaslight. Let in the No, I think we were just kind of talking about like Diablo not being in Diablo 5, or maybe be like, you know, because Diablo has not made an entrance. So I made a joke about like Diablo. It's a lot like LeBron James, where it's kind of like, you know, takes forever to kind of tell people where he's going, where he's going, and he's putting all this big hype around it to still not show up, I guess you could say. Like it's this whole big deal. It's his game, right? And he just, you know, reveals nothing. So that's kind of how the Diablo 5 talk got started. What, you guys don't have VR headsets?
Back to it then.
You guys don't have meta glasses, basically? At that point. King Titan, what's up? I didn't know plan. All right. I kind of feel like experimenting a little bit. So I'm getting really low on stash space for weapons, which probably means I probably should get rid of a lot of weapons that just kind of chilling. Especially don't have GAs anymore, right? Hidden. I'm never gonna use this. Damage over time. What a weapon. And why do I have both of these? Also have 2 of these daggers. This one's the better one. I just gotta clean my inventory out. For sure. Why do I? Oh, that's right, because damage over time. Actually, you know what? I wouldn't do a damage over time with the bow anyway. Never to have a good Sky Hunter. So all these weapon damage, I think ones can kind of go to down. Past that point. Good bow. Sure. I guess I can none of that. Go away. Don't know why this isn't here. This should be in the other slot. Yeah, I don't need either one of these. Thing for here.
You know where to find me.
We're expected to have a major StarCraft announcement. A BlizzCon along with WoW Plus announcement. It's a toss of StarCraft MMO or Helldivers style loot shooter. But BlizzCon has confirmed work on the StarCraft IP. You know, like StarCraft Ghost has been like in limbo forever. It's been canceled. It's been in development hell. It's been there and then canceled, then back, then canceled, and then back. I wouldn't be surprised if like they just took a lot of those assets and just kind of created another StarCraft, something out of that. 'Cause it would be a waste to like not do something with all that work they put into that. So I wouldn't be surprised if like they are revisiting the StarCraft universe in some way. For the strings, just try to make all mythic build and see if you can make it work as an experiment. An all mythic build, bro. I can barely get. I got 1 mythic. Like, it'll take me to like the end of the season to do like a entirely every slot mythic of some sort. I don't think I can handle a 3rd failed StarCraft shooter game. Thinking about that combination dagger, is there a build that makes use of it? Yeah, it's a charm. It'll be in barrage and rapid fire, basically. That's it. Those are the only 2 that actually do anything with it. All right, so experiment time. Let's just roll a force for arrow. Just cause. We'll go for the ginormous first hit. Guess I really don't need to stack ferocity, do I? Alright, so same everything else. Obviously, I don't get the +6 force for arrow, but that's fine. This is just experimenting. You drop it down to 115. See how I feel. The seals have a new animations. I guess this is an animation. Is this what you're talking about? What aspect do I have on the helm? Retribution. That's odd. That should not have taken nearly as long. Like the first hit should be ginormous enough to blow them up on like the 115.
Impressive. Unfortunate.
Like that one. Like that one was like a 2-shot. Alright, Dread. See you later, man. Plus ranks don't consumer do much? Yes. More crit chance. And more crit chance is good. That's why we put a lot of points into it. Yeah, I have no like. Looks like my AoE power is like definitely lacks when I do a force arrow. I would love to be able to make puncture work or something, but that ain't gonna happen. Appreciate the follow. Do you think this build will make it far? Depending on what your what do you consider far? Everybody's version of what far is different. I can recall Blizzard teased it some time ago that Bit Secret hasn't been found yet. Maybe the Cow God, maybe so. Maybe at least 10 levels from the OP, from the top, like 140s. No rogue builds are doing 140s right now. At least not without the bug. Sorry, not without like exploiting. Most builds aren't doing 140s without some sort of bug. I'll put it that way. Or like exploiting something. So if you're talking to, if you want to consider things that are not bugged, then like the bar is probably a little bit lower than like 140s. You don't play with MMOs? Not really, no. I don't have time. All right, so this is still force for arrow, guys. Just want to put that out there. I'm just curious about the big first hit damage. See if there's any merit to this. I'm in the corner. It's kind of hilarious that like I got farm pushing them. I mean they're unstoppable. Okay, 2 true hit
Curse this place.
off the first thing. Okay, shielding. Yeah, let's skip. No. Stop targeting other stuff. Oh. I didn't want to back up. My stone is behind me. Oh, this build's super fun. Thanks for making it. Yeah, man, you're welcome. Yeah, I mean, you, in terms of pit is concerned, you know, the top end with excellent gear, like really good gear, would be like somewhere in like the 130s, like lower 130s, 132-ish. Who's that kid? That kid keeps following me. It's kind of interesting how this works. It's like it's definitely different. All right, bro. All these unstoppable mobs, man. I already think like unstoppable mobs are kind of cringe, but when they start off as unstoppable and they're perma unstoppable, I find that like literally you're telling someone don't play an element. Okay, he's dead now. Want to buy the bubble. Oh man, these guys can heal. Really? Okay, now I can die or leave. Leave me alone. Don't touch me. Are you serious? Let me leave. that's super annoying. Do you guys diamonds or the traffic signal on your regular on the jury? I always do the diamond on one and then red and then yellow. The poison doesn't really bother me as much because especially if you have barrier, as long as you can keep up your barrier, the poison doesn't really do much. So I'd rather just make the everything else stronger versus just the poison. But it depends on the build you're playing, or if you don't have easy access to barrier. All right, so that was forceful arrow for funsies. I don't think there's anything I can do with puncture, like for fun. Like puncture is just so weak right now. So propulsion is really the only one I can do. All right. I'll roll with some puncture for a little bit, just cause. You link your current build. My current build is in the description. It's also my latest video I put out too on YouTube. So this would be like an all knives build, I guess. Okay, this is actually, I mean, I know this is only 115, but this is actually not that bad. Like, I was literally just doing it for fun, being like, okay, cool, all knives, weave setup or whatever, but I wonder if the knives can like ricochet back to the same target, like the puncture knives or something. So Drew did the highest pip 150 without cheating. I don't know about that. I mean, we know that build has bugs, right? So there are exploits. But then also when you consider the fact that it is like definitely probably done on like not solo self found, there was definitely some RMT, so real money has been spent. I don't know what your viewpoint on, you know, RMT being legit or not, but that's why I feel like I know like leaderboards are things that we look at because we, you know, we want to see what build is performing well or whatnot or doing certain things, right? But there's so much that goes on leaderboards and behind the scenes that people are using. There's turbo usage, there's botting, there's RMT, there's tons of macro use. There's so much foul play surrounding leaderboards that like I think trying to base what you should do based off of what you see there is just usually just ends up not being the best practice, honestly. Because if you try to get the same thing and then you try to do the same thing that you see the setup on leaderboard is, you're gonna wonder why it's not working the same way unless you understand how to do the exploit or understand how, you know. And it's just at that point, it's just kind of like the perception of what those builds are just different. You know what I mean? Like it's hardly a you know, representation of what, you know, what should be expected for like the average person or the normal player. I forgot that, yeah, puncture actually attacks faster naturally, so my strafe weaving is actually faster. Kind of forgot about that. I was like, why does this feel more nimble to play? Like I'm spinning faster and or doing the weaving faster for sure. Unstoppable mobs, of course. You know what? We'll fight them. Go fight him. Come on. Come on. Or I guess I'll drag him. Come on to the next room. Come on. Come on. Come on. Alright, there we go. That's kind of fun. I ain't gonna lie. The dragging. We got turbo mouse buttons too. I mean that's part of like macros, yeah. This actually isn't as like this legit isn't that bad. Ironically. I was expecting this to be like worse than like the Forcer Arrow thing, but oh, this is not a good spot to fight the boss. See if I can get him in a more open area or something. Gee, I'm poisoned, but as long as I had the barrier up, I was fine. I survived an explosion. But yeah, I'm like against the walls. This is bad. Lord Sir, what's going on? Alright, is it gonna let me my thing? Thank you. Let me level my glyphs. Y'all leave me alone. Bruh. Bruh. I copied the in-game complete, but I can't even do it 120 comfortably. What build? Let's spin the win. Copy the in-game complete. So, I mean, so here's the thing. Getting, I think I said this earlier in the stream. Getting all the items is different than having all the correct stats, priority stats on the items. So like just having the items and having the aspects is like, you know, that's like part one of the thing. But you're not going to be able to deal as much damage as someone who's been working on this for, you know, a whole week or so. That's worked on getting the correct stats, getting the correct, close to the correct GAs and the correct master workings or whatnot, you know, with near close to max out aspects, right? Like that's different, right? So like, I think the expectations of someone who's like, okay, I put together the build yesterday, right? With some, let the regular have my stash, and it's like I can't beat Mephisto of T12. I'm like, well, yeah, shouldn't be with just, left over. Like that's not how that really goes, right? So like all these little individual things that you need, they all add up. Glyph ranks, same thing. All 5 glyphs, needs to be leveled as high as you possibly can. Having marksman ranks on all of your charms, those kind of things too. So it's like, or 4 of the 5 with the lightning thing or whatever element on the other. So like, there's multiple things to it, but just kind of having it, it's just there. You have all the right stats, even Harlequin. So if you have more mythics than me, then you should have an easier time than me clearing the 120s then. So like there's got to be something wrong then. Right? It's either a gear thing, right? or it's a playstyle thing. Whereas like, are you too far away from the mobs when you spin? Are you clicking your Heartseeker? Right now I'm doing puncture for just for the hell of it. But are you clicking your Heartseeker in your rotations or whatever like that? Make sure that you're resetting the breakpoint of your Heartseekers via video. Like there's multiple different things that come along with that, right? I didn't appreciate the follow. But it's possible. Like things happening. It can happen because like you have proof. Like you get to watch it happen in real time, right? So it's there. It's there for sure, right? Somebody said something about it that people have to remount buttons. I would think by now Blizzard would adopt the TPM 2.0 secure boot anti-cheat schemes and used by Call of Duty, League, and other major titles to negate third-party software and cheats. But I guess they're still catching up. So the thing is that they actually know. They know, like they have much better detection of that stuff right now in D4 than they did in Diablo 3. So they know who's using Turbo HUD. They know who's like auto hotkey and stuff. Like, and I don't mean like repeater macro on one skill, but like macroing the like half their build. Like they know all that. They have data. They know all of that. It's just a matter of whether or not they want to enforce their TOS for people doing certain things. And of course, obviously the people who are exploiting on a leaderboard, like they know all that. They have all the information. It's just a matter of what are they going to do? What are they going to do about it? And should they do anything about it? My answer has always been invoke the TOS. Poison build's bad? No, it's not. Not at all. Poison builds are good. I just prefer cold build. I'm not playing the spam. I play the normal heart, so guess what? Actually better. The spin and win is power wise is a little better, but what makes spin and win so good is that it's just way more efficient. You move considerably faster throughout the world. You're a bit more nimble. It's easier to proc your pain orders mark. You don't have to wait for wolves to kind of mark them for you. So like the efficiency part of the build goes up a ton, but in terms of actual raw power, it's only slightly better than like the original Heartseeker build, if that makes sense. Try to get the resistance with the marksman ranks. I have a lot of marks ranks, but not resistance. Yeah, that's just progression thing. How long do I spend into a Heartseeker? Only like a second. Well, if you want to get the most arrows possible, you do it like once every half second. But you don't need to do that unless you're fighting a boss. If you're just farming around, you just need to hit Heartseeker when you see mobs, and then you just keep going, right? But if you're on a single target, you definitely want to do tap the Heartseeker every half second, basically, because you want to get all the arrows out from your breakpoint as possible. Much like it was in Diablo 3 for God 6 Demon Hunter. People that should get banned 100%. Oh yeah, I agree. Exploiting leaderboards should be, in my opinion, should be the same thing, because it's part of the TOS. Like I would not feel bad at all if that happened. Like if all the people on the leaderboard that are exploiting on Rogue right now get banned, I'd be like, I mean, it's in the TOS not to do that. And you have to know what you're doing to be able to do the 150 on Rogue. Like, and like you act like it's not an accident. So like, if you went to go seek out on how to exploit and then you go do it on like the leaderboard, ban all across the board, like 100% ban, done. Because you have to. Because when stuff like this happens, you have to give punishment out so people don't do that and literally ruin the leaderboards. If you want it to have any sort of integrity, you need to dish out punishments. That's how I personally feel. I'm not saying everybody should be in the same camp, but like we can't say that in-game content bad, or Blizzard don't take their stuff seriously, and then when they do it, it's like, oh no, You know, how dare they, you know, ban me for cheating? You know what I mean? Like, I can't feel bad for that. Because it is against the TOS you signed. That you not signed, that you clicked I accept to, if that meant. Honestly, this leaderboard, there's going to always be people that want to be number one, and when they can't do it legit, they'll always reach towards. Oh yeah, boy, yeah, of course. It's just up to whoever's responsible for the implementation of the competition of the game to make it fair. If someone cheats, ban. That simple. In my opinion. Otherwise, people are going to cheat, and then you're going to have a whole leaderboard with just basically just cheaters, like last season. And then, you know, what's the point of having it if no one's legit on the leaderboard, on the entire leaderboard? That's just insane. Why is it crossbow instead of bow and spin to win? Because attack speed doesn't really matter on this build. So you might as well go with the harder hitting weapons, since the attack speed, you know, doesn't really equate to you shooting more arrows. That's why. I mean, you can still do bow, don't get me wrong, just that crossbow would be, in this case, would be better because the, how do I put this? Because what makes bow interesting is the fact that it attacks faster. So it attacks faster, but doesn't hit as hard. Crossbow hits harder, but doesn't attack as fast. But when attacking faster doesn't make a difference, then crossbow just means it's just a better item to use. Does spin the win do fair on layer bosses? Yeah. Yep. Just as long as you go to boss variant, yes. You want to see me do a layer boss? I was doing layer bosses earlier. I'll do Harbinger again, since Harbinger is one I can use a better Etna's. All right, let's go kill whatchamacallit. I use a greater layer boss because that's probably like right in the middle of like not too easy, but not the other end of the spectrum either. I probably should do the seasonal boss. Let's do the seasonal boss. No, I don't want to use my key. Oh, you know what? I guess won't get the chest. Yeah, we'll do the seasonal boss. Yeah. Well, I mean, struggling. So like, layer bosses are just naturally are gonna take longer than like normal mobs, but your damage to layer bosses is just you scaling your natural damage or just getting like better gear, better stats on your gear and stuff. You will feel a difference with that. I still only have one mythic, so I'm missing like, you know, about 4 pit tiers of damage. So I'm still missing a lot of damage. But this is like me fighting like the seasonal boss right now. Moves around a lot. Yeah, I kill the bosses before they're staggered, and that's on a cold build. I'm not gonna grab those because waiting for the patch, but yeah. Yeah, it takes a little bit more investment to be able to do bosses like on a cold build. All right, I kind of want to go back to some puncture for now, just because I'm like pleasantly surprised how well it was performing. And yeah, Although I guess the thing is I need to think about too with puncture. I forgot that puncture doesn't use a two-hander. Puncture uses the sword. So like I took off like I don't have, well I guess the weapon damage doesn't really matter on both of these, but yeah, puncture was actually kind of fun. I'm not even gonna lie. I wonder if I can run puncture with Crown of Lucian. Because I can get my energy back up pretty easily on this. I guess that there's only one way to find out, right? I'm wearing cervix. What's the layer boss you struggle with the most? None of them really. It used to be Butcher. I said that much. Like it used to be Butcher. But there's no whatchamacallit, so let me just see if I can sustain my energy with this. I'm just curious. I've tried to spin the move and build electric note. Yeah, man. It's a lot of fun. It really is. I promise you. Yeah, all right. Kind of. I can't cash right now. It's so rough. As long as I'm hitting some, I'm fine. But the moment that like, I can't cast.
Curse this place. I'm being followed.
Yeah, so like yeah, it's like definitely a energy thing. Like Starless Skies would solve the issue easily, but of course I don't have one. And getting one is like nearly impossible. A non-crafted one, I'll put it that way. I wonder if lowering the that's it. I can't cast. No. All right. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Still can't cast. I might have to like pull a calculator and like do some math to see how much like if I can get enough resource cost reduction and or like resource if I was like roll like an additional primary resource or something, like would I be able to maintain? Because Crown of Lucian would be a pretty huge upgrade if there's a way to sustain it without such huge investments. Problem is just again the investment is just so big to try to make that work. But maybe I can change some like nodes around on the Dance of Knives or whatever. I know I can make that cost less. Right? So we can make that cost less. That's really not that big of a difference. from 22 per second to 20. That's really like nothing. But you know what? Maybe we'll take any little bit that we can get. Here's enemies cracker. Yeah, I got all that already. And then there is resource cost reduction already on baked in on this helm already. Only other thing I can think of would be I'm not gonna waste an aspect trying to do it either. And that was saying, said plus energy on the gear. Oh no, that's not gonna do anything here. Or it might help with the initial. But it will also be based on how much resources I can like restore as well. Because having more energy will matter less if I can't restore it fast enough or restore it to that height. But I'm spending a lot of energy, obviously doing get some knives and also the whatchamacallit. So like actually now I think about it, this could work if I didn't do Shard of Arathiel. Like it totally could work with Crown of like Lucian without Shard of Arathiel. But there really is no realistic replacement for Shard. Like you can technically go Azurat, but that's bad for like general T12 farming. It's kind of useless there. So, I mean, appreciate the follow. What's my glyph now? About 130s across the board. It's just that when I get to like the low end like that, I can't cast. See, I can't cast. Part of it is like also like holding down doesn't last too long after I kill something. Even right there, like I ran out and I was hitting something. Yeah, if only, man, because like a mythic Crown of Lucian is actually really strong. Not that I have one, but out of energy again. Out of energy, yeah. I won't be able to like do it without or with Lucian. Not without some serious sacrifices. Maybe I'll math it out. Try to figure it out. Have I run of heroes this season yet? Nah. I'm in no rush to do it. I thought about like I was in the process of it, and then my other rogue coworkers pretty much rushed to it to test it for meta. So because they did, I don't have a drive to not drive, but I'm not as anxious to make it now because I already know what it looks like, what it does, and all stuff like that. Like it works exactly how I built it on Max Roll. So it's like I'm no longer as eager to get to it as fast, but I will. I made Heartseeker. I've been lucky this season 4 mythics for it. What do you think about Azarath? Got a mythic. Is it better than any weapons we use in this build? For this particular setup, I would not use Azarath. Because by the time that Azarath is used, like if Azarath is useful while you're farming, it means you're not speed farming. Because if it takes you 3 seconds to kill any trash mobs in the torment that you're farming, then you're not speed farming. That's why Azarath is kind of like the only time I would use Azarath is if I'm pushing, right? And with Heartseeker, Shroud of Varathiel is like practically roughly in the same tier for damage as Azarath is without any of the bugs, and considerably better on boss on the boss time. So it's kind of like on like a Heartseeker setup, you probably wouldn't use Azarath at all. Although, now that I think about it, though, there could be a case where, like, let's say you have a Crown of Lucian, like a mythic Crown of Lucian, you might be able to run Azarath instead of Shadow of Rathiel because of the Crown of Lucian is a pretty big bump in damage, and it would probably make up for the damage that you're kind of losing fighting on the boss a little bit. So there is a world where that might be a possibility, but I'm gonna have to do the math on that. With what rogue build would you use Lucian? Rapid fire for sure, because rapid fire can definitely sustain, like 100% sustain. Kind of Lucian. You have any idea if the cube creating items with boss mask can spawn a mythic? Honestly, that I don't know. I haven't seen any data on that, so I have no idea. I would have. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'll be nice if there was a chance for it to roll a mythic or whatever in that category or that slot. It'll still be considered a crafted mythic though. So it's like if you already have a crafted mythic, then like doing that doesn't really help you because you won't be able to wear that and the one you just made. How can rapid fire push with mythics? About somewhere in a similar ballpark as Heartseeker, maybe like about a pit and a half higher than Heartseeker. Per se, like rapid fire does a little better in the high piston like Heartseeker does, because the single target is actually like really good. But people don't really like you don't see many rapid fire and barrage builds right now because people don't like the upkeep of Narrow's Eye, which I can understand. No, I'm gonna hold on to this. That llama's funny. So I guess if I was to roll, let's say this one's already done, but if there was like max life, max energy here, I have to give up 2 good stats to do it. And then maybe another resource roll. Sorry, I'm thinking. There's no other mythic I can, or whatchamacallit I can put there other than the Azarath. There is a world though, I think, possibly for pushing that you can do Crown and Azarath. But it's gotta be a mythic Crown, a Lucian and a mythic Azarath for it to be like, for that to be worth. I want to play Heartseeker and then I got a mythic Eagle. What's that? 130s, yeah. 134-ish, probably for rapid fire. To be raw indestructible. Oof. Oh snap. Bar. Trying to think of which bush to push with. Well, it depends on how important pushing is to you. Right, like well, I mean, right now, if you're not exploiting, you're not gonna get like top 10 or top 20, anyways. But I guess at that point, it just depends on what your personal goal is. Right, so like. Yeah. Like if you want the absolute strongest way to push, I mean, you got two choices, right? And that's Cold Rain of Arrows or Poison Pin Shot. Like those are your absolute top two. Like undisputed top two. From there you got, you know, Poison Dance of Knives, Heartseeker, Rapid Fire are like in the next level down. Cold Rain of Arrows is. Just keep in mind though, cold builds, especially Cold Rain of Arrows, is very frustrating to push with. Like extremely frustrating with the making sure that Azarath procs works and the Pale Gang Ring actually procs works too. So it is partial why you see people just roll with Poison Pin Shot or like the top push, because it's just a lot easier to deal with. Like way easier. But I do think Rain of Arrows has potentially like the higher ceiling. Yeah, I mean, this kind of day, but I roll damage over time and point. Oh man. How much better is it than your regular ring? Does your regular ring have all the right stats on it? I'm at the top 10 Halo. Oh, your hardcore solo stuff found so that. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Oh, okay. Well then you might be able to pull it off with Rain of Arrows, like Poison Rain of Arrows, honestly. If top 10 is the goal, you might be able to pull it off with Poison Rain of Arrows. Can someone link the build guide? It's on YouTube. Like the very YouTube you're watching right now. Like Heartseeker. We're gonna just go straight to the end. So yeah, I can get away with GA crit damage to that VA as long as I have vulnerable on the ring. Pretty much, yeah. Someone just called Bills when I've been farming for scoundrels. The mythic guy. I mean, even like a pretty, you know, meh scoundrel's kiss, it being mythic is still huge. Just as long as you can roll one of the good stats, I guess, on it. Well, actually, no, I guess you can't, because you can't even roll crit chance on it. You have dex attack speed, and then you roll one of the poison things off for like crit damage or vulnerable damage, and you still can't get crit chance. It's still powerful. Like, it's still strong. Just, yeah, I see what you mean though. Like, it's sad to kind of see something like that, and then you don't get most of any of the stats you want on it. Didn't know poison was that good. I like the way it looks. Yeah, ballista poison. We'll see by next Tuesday. All right. We got a mythic rust-bitten dirk yesterday, and not gonna be like a poison pen shot to make this item work for pushing. Is that even used for pushing? I feel like you only get value out of that on like the boss. Like, I feel like there might be better aspects in that slot than like a rust-bitten dirk. But I'm not pushing poison, so I'm not. But I can imagine, because you got some pretty high multipliers on most of the legendary aspects. This newer version of the build you're playing using puncture instead of Heartseeker. Yeah, I'm just messing around with stuff. Literally, I guess decided to put on puncture just because. I was doing force for arrow just cause, and now I'm doing puncture for just cause. And I was surprised how well puncture was actually doing. I was expecting it to be worse than like force for arrow, but it wasn't. So I was kind of like, you know what? Yeah, to hell with it. We'll hold on to puncture for a little bit, just cause. It's honestly how I kind of come up with either newer variants or whatever. I just kind of look at something like, you know what? I haven't tried that. Let me just slot that and see how I feel about it. Yeah, I mean, better than I was expecting it to be. It kind of makes it an all knives build if you think about it, like when you do it that way. So like, if someone just want to just throw knives, you can do that. I'll say it's like only slightly worse than like Heartseeker, to be honest. I feel like I'm really bad at like catching worms, man. Like, I know where they are, and like I'd be like walking right past the spots, and like, they just don't want to come out for me. Where am I going? Just left the tides. There we go. Wow, I know there's wards around here. Problem is I got a mythic Harlequin, the mythic Shadow gets broke out there. I'm kind of running crowd the Harlequin. And the weird ring exchange, I'm gonna do the following to make Rust Dirk work. Okay. Is words for title is a title or icon only. I think I think there is a title, if I'm not mistaken. About the calendar nameless ace pants or shot at GIF. Change Tron to Edna's, change Edna's dagger to Rust Bitten Dirk. Is the Rust Bitten Dirk a mythic? The damage output is Harlequin versus Rust Bitten. Oh, Harlequin all the way, man. Like, shouldn't the kind of nameless be a charm? No? What's in your charm slot? Because, like, you want both Harlequin and Cow. Thanks a lot for you guys. You're welcome, man. So too easy. I'm trying to figure out, like, what do you feel the Rust Bitten Dagger is going to do for you? Because it's a mythic. I mean, sure, the single target situation would be better, but like on poison, the single target isn't really the issue. Like your boss kills isn't what's like holding you back most of the time. Not on the poison. So it's like the only time the Rust Bitten is going to be activated is on the boss. So you're going to give up all the damage during your run just for better boss damage. And then the Shaco gives you +6 to all skills. That includes your pinch shot and your poison imbuement. So that's like double, quote unquote, double dipping. It's hard to give up that. At least not for the Rust Bitten Dagger. I mean, you could try and see how you feel about it. I guess looking at it from the outside in, I feel like you're giving up too much to try to make that work. Like you're definitely gonna feel it throughout the way. Like your boss might be a little bit better, but like your clearing potential will drop drastically. But hey, I mean, I'm all about the experimentation. So if it works out for you, I'm gonna go back to puncture for a bit, not puncture, Heartseeker now for a bit to close out my stream. Some 2-minute boss fights would be nice, but yeah, I don't know how much I've been missing on regular mods. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I'm all for the experimenting and stuff. Even if it sounds weird, sometimes you never know until you try. As cliche as that might sound, right? But I just think, like I said, looking out from the outside in, I feel like you're going to struggle a bit more getting to the boss now with that setup. But yeah, I mean, try it. Dungeon delve, but wait, what is it I'm not picking up? Oh. Yeah, it feels like I should be able to pick up something, but oh, it's the searching for the body. So where's the body? Okay, there it is. The word for top 10 players is the halo, which makes other people in town bow to you when you walk by. I don't know. If only, right? Imagine that. Tennis court, picture to follow. The activating door is very easy, has a very short range. So the thing is that, okay, so what I know about Dirk is this. If you go to the training dummy and like the mobs, like if you go and you do the multiple training dummies, all 5 of them, they're too close. None of those 5 mobs, 5 training dummy things will have Rust Bitten activated on them because they're too close to one another. If that is too close, which is, that's what considered close is. Most of the time, if you're pushing mobs, you're closer than that. That's the thing. Now, if you're speed farming or whatnot, ideally you might be able to one-shot them before they move into a range that would be considered close to each other. But at that point, then the Rust Bitten dagger wouldn't do anything more than what another aspect would do per se. If you're already one-shotting. But I don't know. Ironically, the distance for Rust Bitten Dagger is the same distance as singled out from Demon Hunter Diablo 3's passive. Like literally is the same. It's the same range. Yeah, there's a chest. I was like, I know there's a chest, right? But I can like barely click it. Yeah, I said it's distant enemies. So it's not just distant. So it's distant enemies within relation to each other, not you. So like if you go into the training dummy, like training room with all five dummies, right? Like that's like just right inside that distance between each other's range in a sense, right? All I'm saying, I guess, is with the way that mobs tend to spawn and or like pump up when you first see them, it's just hard to really get as much value out of that. It's it's ridiculously good on bossing. Like it's insane, you know, against the boss. Like no denying that. The only thing would be is, you know, how much are you losing on the way to the boss by slotting that, right? And maybe you can fish for certain mob types that don't clump up, so you might be able to get some of that Rustbitten Dirk proc or whatever. I figure out why I chose to do the escalation one. Oh well. I'm already all in on this now. All right, Widow. Appreciate you, man. Just temper the dagger 47 times, didn't get a single GA. That is definitely some bad luck for sure. Kills trash and mostly it becomes active on Elise, which dies on second. Okay. Why did I decide to stick around for this one? NBA Street Volume 2. Oh yeah, this song? Yeah. You think a poison version that's been the Heartseeker would be valuable? You can't really do poison with Heartseeker, unfortunately. The Nero's Eye set does not buff poison at all, and Nero's Eye set is by far the best set for like basic attacks like Heartseeker. That's only part of the problem. There's more problems than that, but that's the main problem. Even if you try to go sightless though, then you can't really do spin the win if you do sightless. It wouldn't make any sense because you're not shooting basics out of your Dance of Knives. So yeah, it's just not possible. I get that question a lot. This fucking maybe like this. Probably gonna make your DPS much worse. Man, okay, let's see. Just theory crafting. Yeah, which is why I'm actually like, you know, like I'm not. I'm only looking at it from the outside in, right? From what it appears like. But sometimes, like, and that's why I was like encouraging you to go ahead and, you know, make the, you know, just go ahead and do it, because it's like, sure, that's what paper math says, but I mean, who knows what you might discover. So. Yeah, so hope you don't think I was trying to, like, you know, push you away from you know, making the attempt. I was just only kind of like looking at it from, you know, the outside in and being like, yeah, well, you know, technically it would probably work this way, but I mean, again, who knows? Some of the cooler things that have come out of builds are things that shouldn't work but does. Right, like the whole reason why like poison pin shot is a thing is because Woody Yoda decided to try to see if eagle horns work with the poison when it shouldn't. Like the way that the eagle horn is designed, it's not supposed to work with poison imbuement at all, but it does. Right. That's why, like, none of us, like, you know, Matthias or, you know, or Ava or I, you know, never thought about using eagle horn for poison builds, because it technically isn't supposed to work. So it's like, okay, you know, well, obviously this isn't gonna work, because like it doesn't work with wind force. Why not? It doesn't work with rapid fire either, but why does it work with eagle horn? It's like literally the exact same, like, focus of a buff. You know what I mean? So sometimes it does take, you know, something that would appear, yeah, that's not gonna work, and just go, you know what, so what? Let's go for it, right? And now we have poison pin shot, which may not really be much of a case without eagle horn. So, know what I mean? Thanks for putting up poison Rennerville's bill. Cool. You're welcome, man. How you liking it? Yeah. It's literally how we got this too. Like this whole like god build, this whole god rogue, spin the win Heartseeker. Like, I won't say that what I'm doing isn't supposed to work, but there's nothing in the game that indicates that it should work this way. Right? I just assumed that. I'm gonna say assume. I'm just like, you know what? Since this is supposed to follow, or supposed to be like a, you know, like the Narrow's Eye set with the basis kind of auto casting, and then they made Dance of Knives, like one of the runes of marksman skill thing. So I'm like, I wonder if some of these same rules that apply for God 6 and Diablo 3 will apply to Diablo 4. Like there's nothing in the game that suggests that that's the case, but I did it anyways. I'm like, you know what? Sure, let's just full send it. Let's see what happens, and then all of a sudden, then, you know, now there's a variant that a lot of people like playing, but you wouldn't think to do that initially, right? Like, it's just not a thing that the game pushes you towards. So I'm all about trying, you know, outside the box stuff. All right, the last one's the frontal hordes. I actually don't mind, like on this setup, I actually don't mind doing the frontal hordes as much, because the movement makes it actually kind of fun. I think this would be the last thing I do though. It'll be this in front of word. Also a whisper. So great Krog Live, what's going on, man?